All right, welcome back to the career build series. This is episode 77. This is gonna be a quicker one. I know I said I was gonna get away from the Katydid, but I quickly made a Bambi bucket in case we got any fire missions. I didn't show you how to work that on I made that on screen, but it's pretty simple, and I can do it again if people are interested. Currently, I also added a carry winch under here, so that carry winch is what's going to be able to lift loads. I wanted to have a separate system than these internal winches here for rescues. All right, so let's pull these up, and then we'll be ready to go here. All right, so that's good. Let me put the hatch closed, and let's close the side door here. All right, and now the Bambi bucket is already attached, so if I open up, I had a space here because I moved the panel for the door, so that's currently where my carry bucket is. So I have function 1, function 2, and I have up, down, and the winch. And so that's going to allow you to have two functions for the carry winch. So different modules will need, you can use up to two functions there. All right, let's get started here. And I just want to take out some of these trims here. All right, let me start throttling up. And I'm just going to slowly taxi out here. Let's turn on the gyro and I'll just fly out. It's already picking me up off the ground, so might as well fly out. And we'll go third person here. All right, so Bambi bucket's pretty simple concept. In real life, it's just usually a fabric bucket. That's kind of why it looks the way it does. It's kind of angular, and it's supposed to just be a big bucket. And you dip it in the water, and then you kind of open a hatch in the bottom, and it drains. So pretty simple. I don't know if I fully throttled up. So let me see what I'm doing here. Just continuing to throttle up here. There we go. I didn't throttle all the way up, so it was taking me a second to get going. There we go. Now we have some RPS going here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna dip this in the water. So these function buttons, it's F1 and F2. So then whatever module is on here will have the logic for the functions on it itself. And so presently the Bambi bucket has two functions. Function 1, if you look on the top, there's a hatch. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do function 1. That should open the hatch. As you can see, the hatch is open. Now what we can do is lower ourselves into the water, and that bucket should sink in the water, and it should fill up with water. As you can see, it will go taut and it will fall. There we go. Bambi bucket's now full of water. So now all we have to do is hit function 1 again, and that should close. So let's lift out of the water, and we should see, as you can see, the electric hatch is closed. All right, so now let's imagine these trees over here on fire. So the other thing we can do is we can raise our winch. All right. So presently we're raising our winch up. All right, and so we can also lower it. And to lower it, just press down. All right, those are supposed to be push. I have them set as toggles. Having them as pushes allows me to do more functionality, so I might in case I need to do something else. So let's go over the trees here and pretend they're on fire. And then function 2 is your dump. And as you can see, it just gravity drops. There's no pumps in there. All it is valves and nozzles. So you'll be able to go over this. It holds 2,600 water in there. So pretty simple, easy piece of equipment. And it's going to allow us to do some firefighting. And we had a mission to put out the radio tower, and they said they didn't have the equipment to reach it, so that was most likely meant that we're going to have to do an airdrop, and I didn't have any equipment for an airdrop, so this is why I built this. Is I know I said I was going to do some missions with this, but this allows me to actually get the to actually have the required equipment that if a fire comes up, I can also use the Katydid. So as you can see, very maneuverable, having no problems with this. And the Bambi bucket's super simple. If I just click function 2 again, you'll notice it stops it. So should be able to linger on scene quite a long time. I took off the meter, so I'm not sure how much we used, but that just gravity feeds. I find that gravity feeding a fire is much more efficient, just because you're not having to, you're not having to, if you're pumping, you're putting out more water than you need essentially, and then when you put out more water than you need, you end up having to go get more often. So let's go ahead and let's start bringing the throttle up. I'm sorry, the prop pitch up. I'll also make sure the throttle's all the way up. All right, here comes the prop pitch. All right, and I'm just hit spacebar. We're in trouble here. All right, so spacebar saved me. That and having pretty squishy landing gear. I let the RPMs get too low. So here we're letting them get back up there. All right, so I advanced the prop pitch too much too quickly. So like, see, I have a ton of trim in there that I need to get out. So just really kind of simple firefighting equipment. All right. It seems like I'm having some issues. This might be too heavy to be, yeah, it seems like it's too heavy. So I hit spacebar again, and I'm going to try to save it. Okay. So that might be too heavy to be using the prop with this. Let me dump it really quick. Right, let me go down. All right. Let's jump out really quick and detach the Bambi bucket. New build, it's always tough to figure out where all your buttons are at first. All right, let's grab that Bambi bucket. Let's see if that was the problem. Was the Bambi bucket was just too heavy to be, cranking full prop on it. All right, let's start putting some prop forward here. All right, just more prop forward. All right, there we go. Yeah, so it must just be that Bambi bucket's too heavy to be, we need all that collective to, yeah, we must just need all that collective to hold the bucket up. So start increasing the prop some more. Yeah, so now as you see, we're off to the races, no problem. It was just the Bambi bucket's heavy. That's 2,600 liters of water in there. So it was just nice and heavy. So that's not a big deal. We're just gonna have to fly like a helicopter with the bucket, which when it's full, we could fly with it empty probably, no problem at full speed. So let's go all the way to 100% prop, which is actually very realistic. If you're hauling a heavy load, you're not going to be able to really take power away from your rotor to, to work on. You're not going to be able to take away rotor power to, send to the prop because you just don't have it. All right, so we got a good RPM there, good speed. All right, so that seems like that was the only issue, was the Bambi bucket's just probably too heavy for full speed travel. Could probably use a little bit more powerful of an engine in this, but I don't think it's necessary. I think just a convenience at this point. Let's see how my RPMs. My RPMs are dipping pretty well there. I'm curious if I'm gonna just zeroed out the prop with the spacebar again. So the spacebar is gonna be our safety. And so now with the prop essentially zeroed, it's letting our RPM come back up, and now we're having that power back for the rotors. All right, so probably the engine's probably just a little bit anemic. Probably need a little bit bigger motor. You know, part of it is I keep cranking on that tail rotor. You know, I'm gonna have to start working on trimming that tail rotor out. Now let's recall this back into the base. Where is it? All right, so we'll just make it that quick. I'm not going to go into too much, but you know, that was the Bambi bucket. Let me just quickly look at my motor and see what's up. Presently, it's a little bit weak. Try to see if I can look inside and see what's up. You know, it's an 8-cylinder diesel. It's not a huge motor. You know, one thought is I could make this motor bigger by getting rid of this flywheel. Let's try that. Let me get rid of this flywheel. We might have to reballast. Let's see where though. Okay, center of gravity's over there just because the Bambi bucket's sitting here. But the Bambi bucket is. Let me grab the Bambi bucket out of here. Cut. Clear. Okay, so that's back. Center of gravity's back. Let's look at it now. So we're at 1,334. Let's undo that. Bambi bucket's back in. That's at 1,543. So that weighs, you know, that's a couple hundred, and then you're talking, you know, yeah, there was 2,600 in there. So I'm probably make the Bambi bucket a little smaller. Here, let me open that up. So let me actually cut this. And let's clear it. Okay, make sure that's just this, and then let me save it. I did some small edits on there. All right, let me open up the Bambi bucket. I'll kind of show you what I did and how it works. So it's pretty simple. You know, real Bambi bucket is just a bucket, and inside here, you know, you have a open space. It's closed with an electric hatch. There are nozzles on the bottom, and there are valves and fluid ports. So that will allow the water to just gravity drain through. So I think what I'm going to do is actually turn these so I get a little bit more of a spray pattern. So let me actually work on this. I'm going to make it a little smaller. I think it's just holding too much liquid at the moment, and then I'll work on the Katydid and try to get that kind of tamed and under control. It just seems like the issue is you know, the Bambi bucket is too heavy. That Katydid could probably use a little bit more power. I think it's a little bit low on power. Okay, let's go ahead and do some wedges here. Okay, so I'm going to just make this smaller and try to cut the weight down. I don't know what the weight was at, just 200 something, but just cut it down. Mostly I'm trying to get the capacity down. It was holding a considerable amount of water, so if I can cut the water down, I can make it a little bit easier to plumb, probably, or a little bit easier to control it. I'm just going to get rid of all this and finish the bottom off fresh. It won't take me long because I want to do a different nozzle pattern as well. The nozzles are pointing straight down, and that was really concentrating the water in a small area where I kind of want to have it a little bit more dispersed. All right. And so I'll redo all of this plumbing inside here so you guys can see it. And I'll just show you the micros too. I started just thinking about a Bambi bucket and I didn't start the recording. So, all right, so there we go. And then I'm going to quickly put in, we'll go down to 2s here, or go down to 1-bys. I have symmetry not on. Symmetry's not on. Let's symmetry. No wonder it was taking me forever to delete things. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit smaller, more compact. Okay, so that's the more compact unit. All right, so now put some squares here, and then I want to do. I think I'm going to do. I think the slower flow is actually probably better. So I think what I'm going to do here is put a. Let me look at pipes. Pipe. I think this cross piece corner. There we go. And then I want to put nozzles. Like so. And then that's going to spray kind of a little bit more around. All right, so that's kind of good. And let's go ahead and start. I could do a bucket again, but I don't like it when it paints stuff I don't want painted. So this way I can kind of just control it a little bit better. There we go. So yeah, let's try this pattern a little bit better. The bucket is also a lot lighter. And then I need to check and see what the actual capacity is too, because the capacity was pretty high, and so let's undo that. And so the capacity was going to cause it to have issues with yeah, it had such a high capacity that it was going to really be tough to carry it. And then I want to see if I can't, because I think that flywheel is unnecessary and it's causing me issues in the Katydid. So we'll just hook this electricity together, go to here, and then so the logic is very simple on this. Let me find the nodes. Valves, or valve in this case now. So the composite comes off of here, goes down on this microcontroller. It reads off that panel from the winch. If you do 1, which is function 1, it does an up-down counter that's looped, does the hatch. 2 does the valves. That's pretty much it. All right, and then let's look at it. So this is the. All right, so let's do a quick test here. So let's put a spawner in there. All right, we're going to switch it over to. I think all the weights are the same, anyways, but the capacity is the same. Let's switch it to water. Okay, and then I want a meter. Or dial, rather. Yeah, meter and then a dial. I could just. I don't need to fill it with water. I could just do the capacity, which I actually think I'll do. Let me just do that. Sometimes I like to do it realistically just to see how it behaves too. An actual fill it. Then that can go there, and then I just needed 1. But just hook it up here to capacity, and then that will tell me its capacity. So the other one's like holding is like 2600 water, which, see, this is holding 2600 water as well. So yeah, so that's a considerable amount of water. It's pretty light though, so like I can't grab it anywhere, but yeah, as you see, it's pretty light, the bucket itself. So we want the bucket as light as I can get it, just because I don't want to overburden the Katydid. I might even go. You know, I think I'm gonna go even. Do I dare go smaller with this? I don't know. That's pretty tall. Let me see how tall it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 2 meters tall. No, yeah, 2 meters tall. So let me put it next to my character and see what it looks like. Yeah, so you can see it's a pretty big bucket. Could probably shrink it a little bit, but it's not bad the way it is. Let me let me work on the Katydid just for a minute. I want to boost that engine up. I think getting rid of the flywheel, and even if I have to reballast it, that's going to be better. Yeah. All right, so let's save this as the backup Bambi bucket there. Let me make sure I got rid of all that stuff that was in here. I didn't. This can go. I don't really need to know the capacity. When it stops pouring water out, it's empty. That just makes it a little bit easier. Okay, let me load up the Katydid. All right, let me. So we might have to rebalance this, but that's not a huge deal. Let's go in here to the flywheel. All right, and I'm going to add a crankshaft. I'm going to add some cylinders in here. All right, and so that now, it pushed it back a little bit, but it's not bad. It really didn't do much. You know, that's 100 weight, and then let's see what we added for parts. Crankshaft is 1, and then we added 4 cylinders, so that's 5. So 95 kilograms we lost, which doesn't. We'll see if it affects it much. I don't think it will. What is in here? It's hard for me to see if there's actually something in here. There's a pipe there. Pipe's going to something. Okay, the fuel tank. All right, so the fuel tank's right here. Let me see if I can get some weight blocks in here. Let me turn on symmetry. Can I put a weight block here? Potentially not. It's hard for me to see what's in here when I'm in here. Yeah, that's where the fuel tank is, so it's hard for me to see in here, but let's try it like it is. I don't think it's going to have much issues. The center of gravity's not that much farther back. I could even probably move the rotor back 1. Could do that. I have the space now. Before I couldn't do that, but now I can. Let me try that. Yeah, let's do that. Why not? Let's move the rotor back 1, like so. Alright, and let's move the rotor. Cut that, we'll move it back 1. That will get it right on the money. Moves a little bit off of where the carry point is, but you know, because the winch is a little bit further forwards, but it's not bad. That's right on the center of gravity, so that's pretty good. Yep, it doesn't really look any different. Make sure it doesn't hit the tail rotor when I start it up, but that can always come down a block too if it needs to. All right, let's spawn this. So this should be all set. So now our 8-cylinder is a 12-cylinder. So that should give us a considerable amount more power. You know, like you often don't know how much power you're going to need until you test it and realize you need some. So let's do. Okay, let me load up the bucket, the new bucket. All right, and then let's test this. And then if this is a good test, we have a new tool that we can use, which I love to have, and that will let us. Am I loading? That will let us, you know, if we do get a fire mission, go right ahead and do it. So I can just put this in like this. I'll lower it all the way to the ground like so, and then we'll paste it, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab the cable for it. There we go. And so that will allow us to also do rope if we need a rope for something we're picking up. All right, let's spawn it. All right, so let's go ahead. I also want to do the test that I didn't do with. Don't really need to do it at this point. The rescue, but might as well get this up. I have a cable on me, that's why I can't do it. All right. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it there. This one is stuck under us at the moment. Let out some of the slack. Once we get moving, that will go under the door and we'll be good. Okay, good. Okay, let's go ahead and start up. So we have a more powerful engine now. 6. You see, we're already off the ground here. Ooh, I have trim in there too, which isn't great. So this should be more powerful. It's also going to be zippier to change RPS. So I was hoping the flywheel was going to help us just maintain rotor, but I think what it's doing is just taking forever for us to change the rotor back, and so it's that's causing us more problems, I think. So I think it'll be zippier without the flywheel. And we don't have any issues with center of gravity. Seeing that was easy to fix. Still need a bunch of, I still have yet to get in there to actually do any sort of, I'm going to put a rotational sensor in there for work so that the tail kind of auto stabilizes us, but I've just yet to put a stabilizer system in there. I hand fly a lot, so it's not a huge deal anyway. Let's go. Function 1 is the door. So the door is open now. So this is nice and convenient. Instead of pumping it, you see how quickly it's full? It's full. All right, so it's that quick to fill. And you see it's going to try to pour out. So what we'll do is we'll close it. All right. And now let me see if I can't get somewhere. Okay, what is it doing? Let me make sure I'm at full RPM. Okay, I wasn't. I hadn't throttled all the way up. I need to put a visual throttle gauge on there as well. RPM does a reasonable job of it, but I also have a limiter on there, but let me just go up a little bit here. Okay, so I'm hammering on 1, trying to get it going. Let me see what, trying to see what it is. I think I'm capped out at 15. So 900 it would be max. All right, let's start adding in some prop. I still need to fix that. I don't want it negative anymore, so go ahead and go to 34%. All right, so we're keeping our RPM much better now with those extra 4 cylinders, and we're not having to turn that flywheel as much. Yeah, it was just, I think, when our rotors were sapping a lot of RPS or RPM from the engine, it was taking us a while to spin that flywheel back up. There are applications where you'd want a reasonable size flywheel, but if you're constantly at that speed, but we're having to change too much, so a flywheel's not going to be a good idea. We also were able to get more cylinders in there, so turn into a 12-cylinder engine. Again, put it in perspective, Rigeau has 2 12s in there now. This has 1 12 in it. Alright, so we're going 47 knots. Still have good RPM. We lost a little bit, but not much. Let's go up to about 75% prop pitch. It's holding well. Alright, let's keep going. Let's go to 100. Drop it a little bit. It's stabilizing. Okay, so see, without that flywheel, it's more easily stabilizing. So we're doing nice 88 knots with the Bambi bucket on. So that's good. I'm happy with that. That's great. That's gonna make it much easier to do it. I might have my door open. There we go. So nice to have a Bambi bucket. That really that's gonna make it so we can do a bunch of missions. I know I said next one would be missions, but I was afraid we get a fire mission. It'd be a great one to do, and I have to go make a Bambi bucket. And so now we have a Bambi bucket. It works well. So working really well. Very pleased with how this helicopter's turning out. I like the multi-levels. I like having the engine in the nose. I like having the puller prop. Just needs autopilot and a stability system. I think will be golden. It's looking great. It's functioning really well. Yeah, I'm very pleased with it. So we're working really well. I think we'll call it there. Yeah, so we'll see you guys in the next one.